Oppo has just launched the Reno 7 series in India, which consists of the Reno 7 Pro and the Reno 7. The new smartphones boast of refreshed designs, new software and improved cameras in the Pro model. Now, we've got the retail units of both the phones, so let's quickly unbox them and take a look at what they are like. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and also hit that bell icon so you don't miss any of our videos. Let's start with the Reno 7 Pro. Now the packaging is similar to that we saw on the Reno 6 series, and we only get one variant on sale with 12 GB of RAM and 256 GB of storage. Now the first thing we see in the box is this little black cardboard sleeve which has the silicone case. You also get some documentation and the SIM eject tool. Next up is the Reno 7 Pro itself. Let's take it out of this little plastic jacket. This is the Star Trails blue color, but you can also get it in a Starlight black trim. Now let's keep it aside for now and see what else we get. Next up is a 65-watt fast charger, and along with it you get a USB Type A to Type C cable in the box. Now, the standard Reno 7 has a very similar set of bundle accessories as the 7 Pro, so we'll just fast forward through this unboxing. Now, this phone is also available in a single variant with 8 GB of RAM instead of 12 and the same 256 GB of storage. Some of the features that are common across the Reno 7 Pro and the Reno 7 are the new Oppo Glow design, ColorOS 12 and the AI portrait features in the camera app. Now the glass back on both phones feature a matte brushed finish which is achieved using a laser etching process called LDI. Now Oppo claims that it's the first time this technology, which is typically used in the aviation sector to design PCBs, has been repurposed to create these patterns on the back of these phones. Now the end result is a smooth finish that doesn't really attract any fingerprints, and it looks especially good in this blue trim on both the phones. The Reno 7 Pro and the Reno 7 run ColorOS 12, which is still based on Android 11. Now, there's a new Omoji feature, which is Oppo's take on Apple's Memoji avatars. However, its usage seems limited to just your account profile picture or the always-on display. You also get the usual shortcuts and gestures that we've seen on earlier versions of ColorOS. Oppo's AI highlight and bokeh flare portrait that we saw in the Reno 6 series are also present once again, with a few tweaks and improvements. Now, these features work with the rear camera and the front cameras for both stills and video. Let's take a closer look at both the phones individually to see what's changed from their respective predecessors. The Reno 7 Pro looks very similar to the Reno 6 rather than the Reno 6 Pro from last year, as it now has a flat display and a flattened aluminum frame rather than a narrow frame with a curved display. It has a 6.5-inch AMOLED display with a Full HD resolution, 90Hz refresh rate and HDR10 Plus video playback certification. The phone is also quite slim and light, making it easy to handle. The Reno 7 Pro also gets a new notification light strip around the camera module, which looks pretty neat. Now this color isn't really customizable, but you can choose the type of events that activate it, such as charging, an incoming call, or even notifications from certain apps. The Reno 7 Pro also finally gets stereo speakers, which has been missing in the past few generations. The SoC in the Reno 7 Pro is a MediaTek Dimensity 1200 Max. Now this is a custom version of the standard Dimensity 1200 SoC, which was present in the Reno 6 Pro, built in collaboration with Oppo and MediaTek. Now we're told that it's not too different from the standard chip performance-wise, but it does have two exclusive features that are tailored for the Reno 7 Pro, which are an AI de-blur algorithm for reducing blur in selfies and an AI PQ feature for richer colors and contrast when playing back HDR videos. Now, the Reno 7 Pro has 12 GB of RAM and 256 GB of storage, as I mentioned earlier, and the latter is not expandable as the SIM tray only accepts 2 nano SIM cards. The phone also has a 4500 mAh battery with 65-watt Super Whoop fast charging. Now, while we've seen most of these features in the previous model too, the 7 Pro is still missing some premium flagship features such as an IP rating or even wireless charging. The camera sensors on the Reno 7 Pro have been updated. Now, the selfie camera still has a 32 megapixel resolution like last time, but it's a new Sony IMX709 sensor, which according to Oppo is the world's first. Now, this sensor has an RGBW pixel layout which includes white pixels in addition to the red, green and blue ones, thus making the sensor roughly 60% more sensitive to light. This sensor also supports DOL HDR, which should result in better exposed backlit selfie videos. The main camera has been upgraded to a 50 megapixel Sony IMX766 sensor, which we recently saw in action on the OnePlus 9 RT. However, it doesn't get any optical stabilization on the Reno 7 Pro. The other two cameras are an 8 megapixel ultra-wide and a 2 megapixel macro shooter. Now turning our attention to the Oppo Reno 7, this phone gets a few improvements over the Reno 6 but also takes one big step back. However, overall it remains largely unchanged from what I can make out. The improvements include a slightly larger battery and support for a dedicated micro SD card slot in the SIM tray. However, the frame of the phone is now plastic and not metal like the previous model, which I found to be a little disappointing. The rest of the features are similar to the Reno 6, which includes a MediaTek Dimensity 900 SoC, 65-watt fast charging, a Full HD Plus AMOLED display with a 90Hz refresh rate. The cameras haven't really changed much either. You get a 32 megapixel selfie camera, and on the back there's a 64 megapixel primary, an 8 megapixel ultra-wide and a 2 megapixel macro. The new Oppo Reno 7 series definitely looks very fancy, but in terms of features and performance I was expecting more of an upgrade over last year's models. In any case, we will be bringing you the full review of both the phones very soon, so stay tuned to Gadgets 360.